Gray, Shub, Kimono, hello, hello. How are you guys? Ad, yucky. No ads, yay. Thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. How are you guys? Could you let me know how the audio is? Roki, hi. How are you guys? How is everyone? Audio's good? Let's go. Okay. Yes, hello, hello. I might actually have more time than I thought today, so if this chapter ends early, we can draw a little bit, and if not, then we'll do it next time. I do want to do some drawing next week, so we'll schedule that in. Hello, friend. Yes, hello. Alright, we're gonna continue, but feel free to chat. I read in between anyways. Ronald Neri, who? My deadline is next week, it seems then. Oh, you don't have to rush. There's no rush. If you have it done by then, awesome. But if not, that is a-okay. Don't worry about it. I'll let Gray talk about that if they want to reveal it. I won't spoil anything just in case. Gray is cooking. Hey everyone! Are you all still alive? Kimiyoshi was hanging from the collar, with his head turned up to the ceiling. He didn't even move when I walked in. Maybe he's already dead. Omae wa mou shinderu, literally. That's what Shion said to everyone. She's picking them off one by one. Satoko was lying on a cross-shaped restraining table. She glared at me with red and swollen eyes, which must have been that way from crying. I'd wanted to put her on that special restraining table to pound nails into her hands, but Satoko was too small for that. I walked up to Kimiyoshi and poked his body with my toe. That was the most violent poking noise I've ever heard. What was that? Think I know what's about to happen? Oh, do you? Oh boy. Satoko crucifixion? That's what it sounds like. But also it's a table, so I'm not sure. Maybe she's planning something else. There was no response. Uncle Kimiyoshi, are you dead? This whole village needs to go. They're going. They're definitely going. Murderer! Murderer! Maybe Satoko had witnessed Kimiyoshi's last moments. I took a thick knife from the wall and stabbed Kimiyoshi with it. There was no response. Uncle Kimiyoshi? If you're alive, you better tell me. Okay? You can't fool me. Not a fellow Kimi. No. Brethren. He's gone, though. He's very much gone. I walked over to the pulley that was suspending Kimiyoshi. This is your last chance. Are you alive? Let me know if you are. I paused just for a moment, then turned the pulley. Well, there he goes. Kimiyoshi's body swayed strangely in the air. It looked much more like a corpse like that. Shion-san, why are you doing this? I get it. The door to the huge cave was still open. I bet Satoko had talked to the one in the cell while I was gone. That's how she knows my name. Although, that's actually not my name at all. No, I'm not Shion. I'm the real Mion. The one you all thought was Mion is Shion. It's kind of confusing, huh? But if you don't get it, that's okay. How dare you? How dare you kill Rika? Treon, there's a third! I wouldn't be surprised, actually. With all this going on, I would not be surprised at all. I had allowed Satoko to watch me take care of Rika's body. Of course, I let her see Rika's neck, too. Tronion. All the eons. Rika Furude deserved it. She came over to kill me. I just fought back. That's all.
That's not possible. Rika would never do a thing like that.
If you don't believe me, that's fine. It's none of your business anyway.
What are you going to do with me?
I'm going to kill you. Satoko's eyes went wide. She was expecting my answer, I'm sure, but she still looked shocked. I bet she didn't expect me to state it so openly. You're surprised after seeing all of this? Satoko's dumber than I thought. Come on. I heard the noise of something hitting iron bars echoing in the huge cave. Shion's voice echoed there as well. Sis! No! Don't kill Satoko! I'm gonna draw you in a bubble bath and give you some cookies, Ayo. You take those? I answered her clearly. Did you finally realize what you've done? Did you finally realize that you didn't do anything to save Satoshi-kun, although you had the power to? That was why he was killed. You ignored millions of chances to rescue Satoshi-kun. I bet that answer would have thrown Satoko for a loop. Oh, absolutely. She would have been like, huh? Who? What? Yes, that is your sin. Before even finishing my sentence, I grabbed Satoko's. Oh, I stabbed. My bad, I can read. I stabbed Satoko's right arm. Her blood started to flow out. This was nothing compared to what happened to Rika Furude. I twisted the knife into Satoko's arm. She bit down hard, crying. Stop! Don't kill Satoko! Let her go! I don't care what you do to me, but please, let Satoko go! Why couldn't you say that for Satoshi-kun? It's too late now. I was the one screaming like you back then. But no matter how loudly I screamed, it never reached them, spared him, or saved him. I want you to go through the same thing I did. Oh! I stabbed Satoko's arm repeatedly, but the knife kept hitting her bone. It didn't feel like I was cutting any of her flesh. Stop, Mion! Stop, sis! Stop! 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 Okay, Shion. How about this? I'll tell you how you can save Satoko. Apologize to me 1,000 times. I'll let her go when you're done. How about that? I don't tell lies. If you really apologize 1,000 times, I'll keep my promise. Well, how about that? I'm sorry. 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 Shion started to apologize like a broken record. She's so stupid and honest. She's not even thinking of cheating. I bet Shion really will count to 1,000. I stabbed Satoko in the wrist. There, I felt something hard. I guess I either crushed her bone or scraped it. It must have been extremely painful for her. Satoko screamed. Shion's voice got louder as if trying to overpower that scream. Rip Satoko for real. I am honestly kind of surprised she hasn't died of blood loss or shock yet. Not having the best of days, I see. No, definitely not. All you ever do is cry to get what you want. You think your Nini is going to appear out of nowhere, knock me aside, and rescue you, huh? Yeah, right. The knife was still in Satoko's wrist. I slid it towards her elbow. Satoko, can you hear me? Hey, listen to me. I slapped her face several times and made her look at me. Do you know what you've done? Do you know how your very existence is what cornered Satoshi-kun? Nini. That's right. That's all you did to him. Every time you cried, Satoshi-kun protected you. But have you ever even considered what kind of a burden you were to him? He wasn't some superhero. He was just like you. He was just a normal human being. Have you ever even thought of what he had to go through because of you? No, you didn't. You never even tried. You just let Satoshi-kun take care of you. You just leeched off of him. And as he got injured for your sake, you lived by sucking his blood. You're cursed. How can you still call for him? Huh? You're now going to pay for your sin. With my help. Cry as much as you want. Scream as much as you want. And realize Satoshi-kun will never come for you. You cornered him. You made him disappear. You killed him! After telling her all that I'd been wanting to, I exhaled roughly. What's this? You don't feel anything in your right arm anymore? Okay then, let's use your left. I stabbed her left arm repeatedly and her blood flowed out. But Satoko's reactions weren't fun anymore. She didn't cry or scream like she did before. Drama? I know. This is what love does to someone. No wonder yanderes exist. Would we consider Shion a yandere? She kind of feels like one. Except she's not hurting Satoshi. She's hurting everyone around him. I guess because he's already dead though, huh? That put me in a bad mood, so I stabbed the back of her left hand and twisted the knife again. But Satoko still just moaned. She didn't scream anymore. What's the matter? Are you stifling your screams in protest, thinking that I was enjoying your cries? That's great! Satoko was unfazed by my mad laughter. She looked at me with gritted teeth in resignation.
Yes, I think that's the truth.
Huh?
I cornered Nini. That is why he disappeared. I've known that ever since the day he vanished. I wasn't strong enough. I depended on Nini. I'm sure it was hard on him too, but I couldn't stop. You are absolutely right about that. I have no excuse.
Satoko didn't sound as if she was mocking me or trying to please me. She spoke so naturally. That's interesting. I never realized you were aware of what you'd done.
Nini is coming back. He will come back someday. And when he does, I'm going to show him how independent I've become. I don't need him anymore. I won't hide behind him anymore. I'm going to show him that I really can live on my own.
When he comes back, huh? I stabbed Satoko's arm in a mad frenzy. But she still didn't even scream. She bit down tightly and swallowed her pain instead.
Nini is coming back. I know he is. I'm waiting for him. And when he comes back, I'll apologize for depending on him so much. So I won't give up until that day comes. I'll never depend on him again, ever.
At this point, she's gone into shock, literally. I don't know how she's lasted this long. And she's like 10.
No matter what kind of hardships I have to endure, I won't ask him to help me. I won't call for help. I won't cry. I won't scream. If I cry, Nini will come for me. So I'm going to endure this by myself.
Darn you. What do you think you're saying?
If it's fun for you, go ahead. Stab me as much as you please. But if you think I'm going to cry for Nini, well, too bad. I'll not cry, ever. If you refuse to believe me, then try it. Nini is watching me. He's watching me endure this. He will see that I'm not like I was before. And when he sees that, he's going to come back. Come on, try it. I will not cry. To see how strong Satoko Hojo is.
Crap, crap, crap! I'll show her! Take that, and that, and that!
Nini, you're watching me, right? I've become so strong. This won't bring me down. This is nothing. This won't make me cry. I won't cry for your help. I can endure this. I'm going to endure this. This is nothing compared to what you had to go through for me.
Crap, crap, crap! Why doesn't she feel the pain? Doesn't it hurt? There's no way it doesn't. I've been stabbing her so much and the knife went in so deep. Her blood has poured to the ground and I've been turning her flesh inside out. How can she still talk that way? Why doesn't she cry and scream? Satoko become Chad? She has literally transcended human, limits. She's in a different dimension now. Shion cannot do anything. 100% for real. After Satoko said what she wanted to say, she shut her mouth. She didn't say a word after that. No matter how much I stabbed her, twisted the knife, tore at her, and ripped out her flesh, she didn't even make a sound. What in the world is this? This isn't the Satoko I know. Satoko was never as strong as this. If Satoko was this strong, she wouldn't have been a burden to Satoshi-kun. Why wasn't she as strong before? It's too late. Everything is too late. This idiot's maturity came far too late. Her blood made my hands slippery and I dropped the knife. It was covered in blood from head to toe. Satoko was still enduring the pain. She was enduring this cruelty so she could display her strength. I couldn't defeat Satoko. I couldn't crush her strength. Satoko had achieved her goal. She had become independent, so she didn't need Satoshi-kun anymore. She still believes Satoshi-kun will come back one day. She looks forward to a day when she can show her brother how strong she had become. But Satoshi-kun hadn't seen any of that. Instead, I, who never even thought that Satoshi-kun would come back, was the one who witnessed her strength. What was I thinking? I thought Satoshi-kun was dead. No, I assumed he was. Why did I? I never even thought of waiting for him. I didn't believe he would come back. I didn't wait. I tried to avenge him, but I guess what I really did was forget about him. Satoko is different. She never even thought he was dead. No, maybe she did a little. But even so, she waited. She waited for a day when she could show him how much she'd grown. She waited patiently. What about me? I didn't do anything. I wanted to forget about my sadness, so I tried to find my enemy. I became a demon, using revenge as an excuse, so that I didn't have to think like a human. I lost. I couldn't endure the pain of waiting for Satoshi-kun, so I chose to become a demon. In other words, I got rid of my soul, the soul that loved Satoshi-kun. In other words, I got rid of Satoshi-kun himself. Satoko won. While she had been gritting her teeth before, her mouth had gone slack. Her eyelids were half shut, but I could see her eyes a little. They looked like she was dreaming about something happy. Satoshi-kun was there, in her eyes. Satoko endured, until Satoshi-kun came for her. Satoko ran up to Satoshi-kun. She jumped onto him. Satoshi-kun hugged her, and they spun around. You can cry now. Satoshi-kun told Satoko that, and she cried very hard. Satoshi-kun rubbed her head so gently. We'll be together forever, he said, and continued to rub her head so gently. So gently. Satoshi-kun, I was waiting for you too. What meaningless words. He was already dead inside of me. I never believed in our reunion. How pitiful of me to say that just because I saw Satoko and Satoshi-kun together again. As Satoshi-kun hugged Satoko, his eyes met mine. Shion, Satoshi-kun said. I asked you a favor. What favor? I tried to remember. What kind of favor did Satoshi-kun ask me? Satoshi-kun looked at me so sadly because I couldn't remember. That sad look tore my heart to shreds. The blood flowing out from me wasn't as pretty as Satoko's blood. My blood was a slimy liquid, like vomit with filthy chunks of food in it. That was what filled my body. Whether it's a real curse or somebody's conspiracy, I won't disappear, and I won't fall victim to it. You won't disappear? No, not until I buy that teddy bear. I'll get the money pretty soon. I won't go anywhere until then. Huh? A memory of the past. But when? Of course. This is a memory of the day before last year's Watanagashi. Satoshi-kun called me on the phone then. My aunt is home. I have to go. Okay. Mion? Huh? His aunt was home, so I'm sure he wanted to hang up as quickly as possible. Satoshi-kun paused and spoke. I'll leave Satoko to you. My knees and elbows started to shake. My teeth chattered and my fingers were shivering. Satoshi-kun asked me to. What have I done? I couldn't wait for Satoshi-kun to come back, so I filled myself with evil thoughts and acted as I pleased. I didn't believe he'd ever return. I even forgot about Satoshi-kun's last request. How can I say I love him? I just wanted to forget about my feelings of loss, so I made myself all bloody. How can I welcome him back now? I didn't believe that Satoshi-kun would come back. I didn't believe Satoshi-kun was alive. I didn't think he was alive, so I thought he was dead. I believed in his death. I killed him myself. Nobody else did. I did that. But Satoko believed until the very end, and she was rewarded in her final moments. Satoko wasn't here anymore. She had no more need for her bloody, painful shell. But I'm still here, trapped in my bloody, tainted flesh. I'm going to rot inside of it. Satoshi-kun was waiting for both Satoko and me. But to be reunited with Satoshi-kun, we had to keep our promises. Satoko's promise was to be strong. Satoko kept that promise until the bitter end, and Satoshi-kun embraced her. My promise was to take care of Satoko for Satoshi-kun. I never kept the promise from the beginning. Therefore, Satoshi-kun will never embrace me. Even if I were to rub Satoko's wounds and ask her if they hurt, that wouldn't mean anything. That was when I felt something behind me. It wasn't Satoshi-kun or the thing that scared me before. I didn't know who it was, but it was right there, criticizing me for my mistakes. Then, I finally realized it. That thing is me. Shion, for real. She's just now realizing she made a mistake. I had always been there, standing behind myself and watching me break that promise. Satoshi-kun asked me to take care of Satoko, yet I didn't keep that promise. I'd been watching that happen. I cried and gave up on myself. Wait, Satoshi-kun gave up on me. and I gave up on myself. What'll happen to me now? I don't want to be in this darkness. I don't want to be all bloody. Please don't leave me. If I give up on myself, what'll happen to my body? There will be nothing left. The only thing I'll have left in me is an evil demon. I get it. I've known it for a long time now. I am nothing but a demon. A demon doesn't feel sad. A demon's heart can never be in pain. A demon doesn't cry. Shion was still apologizing. She believed that was the only way for her to save Satoko. Her voice was growing hoarse and weak. Shion! You don't need a count anymore. Good job. I guess she realized what happened to Satoko. Shion cried in her cell. Being a demon isn't that bad, huh? I never knew how fun it would be to see other people cry and scream. I've already had plenty of fun in this human world. Satoko just needs to count her prime numbers backwards. Oh my gosh. Maybe soon I'll kill myself and go back to hell. But don't worry, I'll make sure I kill you first. That's why I'm here after all. Demons are pleased when they see people cry and grieve, see? Wait, you like Kechan, don't you? Okay, I'll rip Kechan apart before your eyes. What a great idea! I'll kill you, and then myself after that. Onigafuchi Village is a village of demons. Demons came out from the swamp and attacked the village. I'm going to act like those legendary demons and wait for Oyashiro-sama to judge me. That will be a suitable disaster for Hinamizawa, don't you think? Ooh. Kechan, it's me. It's Shion. You took a long time to pick up. I thought you weren't home and I was about to hang up. Sorry. Oh wait, that was Shion. My bad. I was just in the bath. Wouldn't your family pick up for you? Could your parents be out right now, Kechan? Well, no. They're not really... Anyway, have you heard? About Rika-chan and Satoko? No. What happened after that? Were they found? Nah. They haven't found them yet. Kechan, please don't lose hope. Rika-chan and Satoko. They were kidnapped, weren't they? Yes. I don't think there's much doubt. Rika-chan and Satoko were... no. I mean... I'm sorry. About the mayor. What do you think happened after he was kidnapped? Do you think he's still alive? Keiichi sounded confused. He wanted to believe Satoko and Rika were still alive, which was why he was asking. Keiichi was just like Satoko. Unless the culprit was after money, the abductee would usually get killed right away. I'd never assumed they'd still be alive. But Keiichi was trying to hold on to a little hope. I could feel his strength. It was much greater than mine. I'm a demon, so I didn't come up with an excuse. I think he was killed. Hey, wait, that was abrupt. I think it must be really hard to kidnap someone and keep them like they are. As long as they're not hostages, it would be most practical to kill them once you were done with them. Kill them? So readily. I mean, what's a human life or two anyway? It's a horrible thing, but that's probably what happened. If the mayor was killed, then Did that mean the same had happened to Rika-chan and Satoko? No, that couldn't. They weren't some random old man. It was Rika-chan. It was Satoko. They couldn't kill him so easily. Keiichi was still refusing to believe what I said. He fought so hard because he didn't want to kill his friends within him. I wasn't like that. I killed Satoshi-kun within me so easily. I blame Shion for not protecting Satoshi-kun, but I killed him so easily. It's probably better to think that Rika-chan and Satoko-chan ended up the same way. Keiichi roared and cried. It was like their deaths were physically agonizing to him. Why? Why? Why kidnap someone and then kill them? Screw curses! Are people's lives really that cheap? Erasing them and killing them without a second thought like this? You're right. You're absolutely right. It would take a demon. I laughed at myself. I was sure Keiichi didn't notice. Hey, Shion. Please tell me. Why did Hinamizawa start needing someone to die on the night of Watanagashi? That's what I'd like to know. The fighting over the dam project is already over and done with. Haven't enough people been cursed already? Why is it? Why? If there's a reason, then say it now! I understand how you feel, Ketchan. I really do. The dam conflict ended a long time ago. Yet murders and disappearances keep happening every year under the guise of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Why? Why is it happening? Some of them have nothing to do with it, and some of them didn't deserve to be cursed. So why? Why? That's what I'm asking you! I want to know that as much as anyone. Of course, the curse of Oyashiro-sama never existed. It was just a bizarre environment that allowed people to kill in the name of Oyashiro-sama. The environment, and nothing more. Nothing would have happened unless there were demons who danced within it. Listen, Oyashiro-sama's curse never existed. It's too unrealistic. Just like you said, someone in the village is using the guise of Oyashiro-sama's curse as a justification for continuing these murders and disappearances every Watanagashi. They were cunning. They've been using the curse as a convenient tool and made a system where they would get rid of 2 enemies in the village every year. And this year, that system killed Takano-san and Tomitake-san. Then why wasn't that enough? Why did the mayor and Rika-chan and Satoko have to get killed too? I don't give a crap about the past. The only thing I care about is why Rika-chan and Satoko needed to be killed. Why is that? I didn't say a word to Satoko, you know? Why even her? Why? Satoshi-kun was speaking through Keiichi's mouth. How could I respond? I didn't know what to say. I could only feel myself being stabbed by the sharpness of those words. Ketchan, please. Stop being mean. I don't have any idea what's going on either. Everything changed when we went into the ritual storehouse that night. When I heard that Takano-san and Tomitake-san had been killed that night, I doubted my ears. Then I realized it instantly. I realized what sort of a position I was in now. The 4 of us snuck in there. Ketchan, you and I won't be so conveniently forgiven. When I thought about that, it made my chest so tight. It was so terrifying. You know that feeling, Ketchan, don't you? That's why I confessed everything to Uncle Kimiyoshi. He wasn't mad. He smiled and told me if I was really sorry, I'd never be demoned away. He really did smile at me and told me to leave it to him. I remembered Uncle Kimiyoshi speaking ill of Satoshi-kun. I killed him, but everyone in Hinamizawa did that. I wasn't the only one at fault. When did you let the mayor know? Huh? I'm sorry, Shion. It must seem like I'm kicking you while you're down, but... Shion, you told him, right? You told old man Kimiyoshi, the mayor.
Yes.
When did you let him know?
Eh?
Keiichi's tone was becoming sharper. That edge was cruel, but it was a sharp conviction. It wasn't a dull edge that caused excessive pain. It had a clean, pleasant sharpness to it. Did you know that the mayor had a severe case of hemorrhoids and had gone to the hospital for treatment?
Kei-chan, what does that have to... It's your favorite kitty. Hello, crazy dragon mistress.
Hemorrhoids! Yes, he did have hemorrhoids. I totally forgot about that. He did. Please answer me. If you didn't know, then just say so.
I knew that he had hemorrhoids. It looked like sitting down was really hard for him. Thank you for the head pat.
He was going to the hospital. You know which hospital, right?
Oh, thank you for the hydrate and stretch. I'm sorry. I don't know that much, but... Kei-chan, what does that have to do with...
I want to ask you straight. Shion, when did you tell the mayor about everything? When and where? You can give me a rough answer, but please, give me one.
Kei-chan, why are you asking that?
Very good, Keiichi Maebara. You know who I am, don't you? It was impossible. I'm an absolute darling. Oh, I'm glad you think so. I'm glad you see me like that despite the dark story we're reading. It was impossible. The day the mayor disappeared. From dawn until he vanished. There was no opportunity for you to contact him.
Eh? That's...
The mayor left first thing in the morning for his examination at the university hospital all by himself, without telling anyone. Shion, you just said you didn't know which hospital he went to. So you couldn't have contacted the mayor until he got back. Isn't that right? His train back was delayed by an accident, and he didn't return to his house until the meeting was about to start. So there was no time for you to have told him before the meeting started either. Shion, did you go to the meeting too? Did you attend it? And tell him there? If you didn't, then there wouldn't have been any time left. After the meeting was over, the mayor disappeared on his way home.
Actually, with the meeting,
You didn't even go to the part-time job you said you went to that day. I'll cut to the chase. You haven't been since we were at the library together.
Kei-chan,
Shion Sonozaki disappeared the day after Watanagashi.
Bingo, Kei-chan.
I'm impressed. Oishi-san says you've been missing. Despite that, you've been calling me every night like this, haven't you? Please, Shion. If something I said was wrong, please say so. Shion, I'm begging you. Corner me even further. Corner me so the demon inside can't come up with excuses, so that it can't escape. Shion, there's no way you could have seen the mayor, but if you did see him, the only time I could possibly have seen him on that day was... Then you saw him after the meeting. In other words, it could have only been right before he disappeared, or else afterward. Click. I screeched and screeched with laughter and slammed down the phone. Very good, Kei-chan. That's right. It's me. I'm the one. Hurry and corner me. Hurry. Let me be free. Was he going to tell the police? Or was he going to come here by himself? I wondered which it would be. If the police came, I'd struggle as much as I was able. I'd see how good Oishi would be at catching a demon. If Kei-chan came here alone, that wouldn't be smart of him. He couldn't complain about being eaten by a demon then. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him gruesomely while Shion watches. Therefore, Kei-chan, you shouldn't hold back. I only ever thought you were just a funny guy. I never thought I could expect so much from you. She do be plottin'. It took them a long time for them to come for me. I had to wait until the following morning. I opened the gate without checking to see who was ringing the doorbell. I didn't even care who it was. If it was the police, that'd be fine with me. If it was Kei-chan, could he defeat me? Keiichi and Rena were there. Well, this is unusual. Aren't you two going to school?
We stayed home today.
Kei-chan is one thing. But you two, Rena? You two are such troublemakers. I laughed. Well, let's not just stand here. Come on in. I didn't think Rena would come. I thought it would be either the police or Kei-chan alone. I'll try tricking Kei-chan into coming with me to the underground storehouse. Rena, why don't you try to figure out what I'm attempting to do and stop me? You too, Kei-chan. If you figure out I was Shion, why don't you try to figure out the rest? I will act like a demon. I will struggle until the very last moment. So don't hold back. Please, don't hesitate to kill a filthy demon like me. Mion, first, I have something to apologize for. You do? What for? Well, on the night of Watanagashi, the ritual storehouse behind the shrine, I went in there. I didn't expect this to start with an apology. Okay, so he admitted his sin of entering the ritual storehouse. I guess that was manly of him. I didn't even care if the storehouse is forbidden anymore. Whatever. That rule came from those who believed it was even a sacred place at all. Mion, you called Rika-chan and Satoko the day before last, didn't you? I don't remember doing so. If you have a reason to think so, could you let me hear it?
It was evening, before dinner time. Rika-chan should have come here. Bringing a big bottle of soy sauce? To have you share some with her.
Rena spoke with confidence. She wasn't even trying to gauge my reaction. She was simply telling me the truth. That cleverness was very pleasant to see. Why do you think that?
It's not hard to understand. Mi-chan, you saw it too, didn't you? Rika-chan's room. There was chilled tofu, but no soy sauce. Plus, the big bottle of soy sauce that should have been under the sink was nowhere to be found.
What? Is that why she would have come here? Rena sure is sharp. I tried to beat around the bush, but she was confident in her conclusions. She was cornering me. She was doing such a great job, too. It really put me at ease. Okay, demon. Rena knows what she's talking about. What kind of excuse are you going to come up with now?
It's a long explanation, so I'll get to the point. The contents of that refrigerator provided a vivid account of what you said over the phone when you lured her out.
There it is. This game is over. Rena, I was right about you. I don't like you. You really are just too sharp. Shion is so obtuse that she never even recognized this side of you. That's... I had no idea I had such an incredible detective right next to me the whole time. I can't believe you'd figure out everything, down to the phone conversation, just from what was inside the fridge. You've got me there. You've got me. You've got me. I laughed like crazy. I laughed because I was having so much fun. I sensed the poison inside of my stomach dissipating and felt free and refreshed. Mion, the police have suspected you for a long time now. Oishi-san's officers have had the house under observation so that they could break in at any time. Kei-chan was threatening me. He was telling me I couldn't run or resist, so I should just surrender and accept my fate. You weren't doing that intensely enough, Kei-chan. Shouldn't you grab my collar and knock me to the ground? Today's the day I'm prepared to die. After that, they went easy. Because they just wanted to know the reason why Mion committed such crimes. You all are being too lenient about this. I'm a demon. I'm a murderer. Are you saying that if you can understand the reasoning, murder is okay? A demon is a demon. A murderer is a murderer. Whether their motive is to have fun, to live, or to take revenge, that makes no difference. Why do you even want to know that? Why don't you just tackle me and take me to the police? Look, there. The demon is trying to deceive you. It's a pleasure to meet you both. I am the successor of the Sonozaki family, Mion. Welcome to the Sonozaki family's house today. I'd like to greet you on behalf of our leader, Oryo. You seem to want to ask various questions. I'd like to answer everything as clearly as possible. I then told them about the strange events that led to the Onigafuchi village becoming Hinamizawa, which Takano-san had told me about before. About half of it was the truth, but the other half was completely made up. I just made it sound like it was only natural that their best friend committed such a gruesome crime. Keiichi and Rena were both overwhelmed by the history of Onigafuchi village, which was swallowed by this gloomy fate. Oh well, I guess I made it sound interesting enough. I'm sure they enjoyed hearing me tell the story. But you know, I'm the one who committed the incidents that happened in the present time. What was the point of listening to these old folktales? Are you thinking it'll make your best friend's crime easier to swallow? You're just trying to satisfy yourselves. I'm a demon. I'm a murderer. I have sinned. These old folktales have nothing to do with the crimes I've committed. The way those two listened to me so intensely almost made it fun. I told them that people used to make canned human meat and conducted gruesome research during the war. Those were things Takano-san told me. Hey, you two. Haven't you realized yet? Haven't you realized that what I'm talking about has nothing to do with what we're dealing with right now? You both look so serious. You two are such fools. So that Hinamizawa village might once more be like Onigafuchi village. So that we may again be a sacred existence worthy of worship. That's the mission of those who inherit the demon of the Sonozaki main family. Those who inherit the demon. For generations, the Sonozaki family has had a custom of including the character for demon in the names of its successors. If you write out my name on your hand, it should appear plain as day. Keiichi tried to write Mion on his palm. Oh, she's right. The character for demon is in there. Not only in my name either. The demon is engraved on my body as well. I stood up and made to show my bare back. Of course, I don't actually have a tattoo there.
It's okay, Mi-chan. You don't need to show us, okay?
Thank you. I laughed a little. They must really believe that I'm their best friend, Mion. My goodness. The demon has won already. They were doing so well at the beginning, too. I eventually sat back down after I finished telling my made-up tearjerker stories. It's your loss if you all shed any tears now. I looked at Keiichi. He wasn't crying, but he was overcome by emotion. I looked at Rena. Surprisingly, she still maintained an aggressive look, showing me her will to fight.
But Rika-chan and Satoko-chan, you killed them, didn't you, Mii-chan?
You're good, Rena. You know what I just told you isn't an excuse for murder. You usually act like such a goofball, but that's not how you really are. You sure are something. You're far sharper than Shion.
I'm not saying that it's okay if you killed other people. Regardless, Mii-chan, you killed Rika-chan and Satoko-chan.
I'm not trying to justify what I've done. I have a demon inside of me. The demon is in my name, in my body, and also in my soul. But the demon wasn't the one who killed them. I did. Mion Sonozaki did. Rika-chan and Satoko died because Mion wanted them dead. That will never change. You're right, Rena. Come on, Rena. Try to figure out who I really am. You still believe Shion, my victim, is the real culprit. Poor Shion. I'm making Rena believe that you're responsible. That was it for Rena, though. She couldn't figure out I was Mion.
Please, turn yourself in.
Rena spoke to Mion.
We'll go with you. We'll never leave a friend by yourself.
Crying children and Rena are the only things I can't beat. Too bad, Rena. I've won. I'm well aware of how serious my own crimes are. Even if they accept me turning myself in, I'll probably never be able to come back here. So, I'd like you to hear one last selfish request.
What is it?
30 minutes is fine. Just let me have some time alone with Ket-chan. Eh? Keiichi looked startled to suddenly hear his name. You're so insensitive, Keiichi. That's what made my sister cry.
Keiichi-kun, is that okay with you? If you don't want to, then I won't make you.
She's right. It's okay if you don't want to. After all, I'm a demon. And Ket-chan is a bona fide human who moved here from somewhere else. For us to be compatible, as long as Oyashiro-sama doesn't exist to mediate, it simply isn't possible. Keiichi hesitated a little. Come on, Ket-chan. Condemn me. Condemn me and tell me you'd never let go. Sure. It's fine. Thank you. Fool!
I'd like to thank you too, Keiichi-kun.
Rena stood up. As promised, she made to leave. It's fine, Rena. You can wait right here. I just want to go around the garden with Ket-chan. If you're bored, you could go to my room. You can read any manga you like. And if there are any volumes you want, you might as well take them.
I don't want to. Mii-chan's books belong to Mii-chan. Rena couldn't bring them back with her so freely.
You're such a good kid, only at times like this. I took Rena's head and rubbed it like Satoshi-kun used to do to me. Okay, let's go, Ket-chan. The game was over. Too bad, Rena. At least this was more fun than if Ket-chan came alone. If he did, he could have asked me to run away with him after hearing my stories. Rena's eyes were like those of a judge. In those eyes, I sensed both affection and observance. I said 30 minutes, so she would probably only wait for 30 minutes. If I took even a second longer, she'd call Ooishi. I'm a little disappointed. Rena still thinks I'm Mion. She didn't manage to see through me. I thought someone like her would see the demon in me. I guess I was wrong. Too bad. Keiichi followed me after putting his shoes on. Can I hold your arm? Such a humble request. I don't mind. I took Keiichi's arm. He's too close! It was as warm as Satoshi-kun's. I felt a little bewildered. Do you get kind of nervous with your arm through mine? You're not thinking, for example, that I'd suddenly put you in a world-class joint lock or anything. You two say the same things. I don't think that. At all. He was remembering the time when I'd held his arm in town. I think Shion liked you, Ket-chan. I see. I told him how my sister felt. Shion was with Satoshi-kun for a long time, but what they had was friendship. They never had anything more than that. That was why she fell in love with Keiji. If I were in her position, I would also have fallen in love with him. If Shion was able to fall in love with him, then I could fall in love with him too. Keiji smiled gently. I almost saw Satoshi-kun in that smile. The Keiji I knew was worthless and superficial. I never realized he could smile like Satoshi-kun. Mion and Shion. You got along well, didn't you? Well, I wonder. Ket-chan, do you think your right hand and left hand get along? Huh? My right hand and left hand? I don't think you could describe them as getting along or not. That's how our relationship is. You can't measure it by how well we get along. We'd been together since we were born. We'd been living in this world as a pair. But I was Mion, and she was Shion. Mion was treated specially, and I insisted on being her. Of course, that was unpleasant for Shion. Deciding to be fair, we switched places all the time. We were probably different from other identical twins. We didn't only like the same things or do things the same way. We even managed to share our knowledge and experiences. When we talked about our experiences, we could share them. As Mion and Shion, we shared everything. That was why each of us was both Mion and Shion at the same time. No, maybe Shion was the only one who thought that way. I was a little different than that. I was simply letting Shion be Mion once in a while. I was Mion, the successor to the Sonozaki family. I was supposed to be treated specially. I always thought that was my privilege. Just like everyone tried to distinguish between Mion and Shion, I also tried to distinguish between us. For example, one of your hands is dominant, so there will always be a better hand. If you only had one oven mitt, you would put it on your dominant hand without thinking, right? I think maybe it was like that for us. That doesn't mean, though, that anyone would be okay with losing their left hand. It's that kind of unexplainable relationship. I think that maybe you live too close together and just stop being able to see it, but I think that means you get along really well. I'm an only child, so the day before the festival, I was really jealous of when you and Shion were messing around with each other. I think you're jealous of something that doesn't exist. Yes, we twins used to have a lot of fun trading places with each other. But now that we have such distinctly different personalities, our resemblance only gets in the way. As an older sister, I felt I was mean for thinking that way. So as punishment, I became Shion. Who am I? I never had a solid identity in the first place. I was Mion. Then I was Shion. I should have just accepted that. But something has changed. I don't even know if I'm Mion or Shion anymore. Had I really been stupid enough to hope that Rena would figure that out for me? Shion is still alive. Really? Keiichi looked into my eyes. I nodded quietly. Yeah. I'd been thinking to give her the most horrible death of all, so I kept her locked up. I never did think of a good way to do it, though. This was a lie. I've already come up with ideas, and I've already begun to execute them. I dumped the hag into the well in front of Shion. I dumped Kimiyoshi and Rika in there. I even killed Satoko, too. And right now, I'm plotting to kill Keiichi, who Shion fell in love with. I am a demon. Any such gruesome act is simply pleasure to me. That's when I felt a warm hand rubbing my head. It wasn't Satoshi's hand, but Keiichi's. Keiichi and Satoshi-kun are totally different. Why did Shion fall in love with him? His rough hand didn't make me happy. That he understood my feelings was just my imagination. I wasn't happy and it didn't feel good. It didn't. Come with me. I want you to see all of my sins. Although, Kei-chan, it might be the worst thing you've ever seen. I'm going to commit my final crime. I'm going to let you see it. I'm going to let Shion see it. When I do, are you still going to think I'm your best friend? Poor Shion. Kei-chan is going to die thinking it's you who killed him. If you want to turn back now, now's your chance. I don't know what impression you have of Mion Sonozaki, but it'll surely change once you go inside. It'll never change. I'll say it as many times as I need to. Mion Sonozaki is the best friend I could ever have. You're such a fool. You don't sound cool at all. I don't understand human feelings because I'm now a demon. But I think I can understand why she loves you. I opened the iron door to the underground storehouse and beckoned Keiichi inside. Come on, Keiichi. This is obviously a trap, don't you see? This basement is transparently suspicious. Don't you think you should run to the police? But Keiichi was reckless. He swallowed, then stepped inside. Huh, you really are a fool. We went down the stairs to the basement, and I led him into the torture room. Everyone is shocked their first time visiting this room. I used to be that way. Of course, Keiichi looked surprised too. But he was trying not to show it. Obviously, he wanted to express his shock at seeing this horrifying room. But he also knew that if he voiced that shock, then he would be rejecting his best friend, who was trying to confess her sins to him. So he did everything he could to stifle his surprise. According to something a family head from a long time ago wrote, blood splatter has an impact, despite the fact that it doesn't tax the sacrifice. Watanagashi was meant as a deterrent, after all. My ancestors thought up all different kinds of showy torture. That's a space for the audience. Watanagashi is a deterrent, after all. It wouldn't make sense if there were no guests. Why is he smiling? Why is he okay with this? I remember, like, the stuff that happens here in the question arc of this game, and Keiichi's so stupid. He's so dumb. Keiichi smiled quietly as he listened to me. No matter what cruelty came out of my mouth, he would embrace me. Was this really the superficial Keiichi Maebara I knew? Right here is where I killed everyone. There were no spectators to watch me, but I held a Watanagashi of my own. Well, perhaps there was one spectator. Huh? A spectator? Me. I, the demon, was watching the entire time Mion held the ceremony. I started to laugh. How many hints do you need, Keiichi? When are you going to figure out I'm not really your best friend? Come on, hurry up. You're running out of time. The game is almost over. This was a game. This was a game of murder. I had killed people, using my revenge for Satoshi-kun as an excuse. The demon was trying to capture Keiichi and kill him before Mion's eyes. But Keiichi had a chance. If he figured out I wasn't his best friend, then he'd win. If not, he was out. When did I come up with that rule? I guess it was sometime today. Or did I come up with it just a minute ago? Since the two of them aren't too bright, I decided to be easy on them, I guess. You are Mion's best friends, right? Don't you believe in her? Have you already made Mion into a murderer within yourselves? Why don't you try to protect the Mion within you? Why don't you try to believe your friend can't be a murderer? If you could believe until the very end, like Satoko did, you would have realized I wasn't Mion, your best friend, but just someone who looks like her. But if you can't, if you still believe that I'm Mion, then you're just like me. I killed the Satoshi-kun within me so easily, and you will do the same. You don't deserve to live. Back there is the prison. Is Shion there? You're not going to make it. Once we reach Shion's cell, your time is up. The demon will win. Shion! Is that Shion?
Ketchan! Is that you, Ketchan?
Keiichi ran to the cell. Are you all right, Shion? Are you hurt?
No! No! No!
Shion screamed. I was standing right behind Keiichi. It was time. My preparations to kill the boy she loved were complete. For her, this was going to be the worst possible torture. Calm down, Shion. Everything is over now. Everything. Keiichi tried to quell Shion's distress by talking to her in a calm voice. It was such a funny sight. Keiichi was the only one who had no idea what was going on. Shion, how have you been?
No more. Please. No more. I don't want to see anyone else die. If you hate me, then just kill me already. I'm the one you hate most, right? Kill me. Kill me right now. Sis!
Calm down, Shion. It's all over now. It's going to be all right. So calm down. Relax. I won't kill you. No, I won't kill you just yet. It's game over. I gave you enough chances. You cornered me quite well once. But that was it. You couldn't figure out that I'm not your best friend, Mion. You couldn't believe that Mion isn't a murderer.
Please stop! Don't kill Ketchan! Ketchan has nothing to do with this, does he? If you're going to kill someone, then kill me right now. I don't want anyone else to die.
If you want to die that badly, then after I've killed this man, I'll take my time making mincemeat out of you. In accordance with the ancient rites, I'll do it slowly, starting with your extremities. I'll shave you down and mince you to bits. I had that mincing machine set up specifically for you, after all. Or would it be funnier if I were to mince up Ketchan in front of you? Hey, quit it already. What do you have to gain by scaring her at this point?
No! Ketchan, run away!
Here you are, demon. Go ahead and take my soul. I'd been living my life to avenge Satoshi-kun. But that wasn't what he wanted from me. That was just for my own satisfaction. I couldn't even face Satoshi-kun. So, I'll bring this to an end in the way I want. The world became a total mess. Satoshi-kun hates me, and I hate myself too. I'm going to complete my revenge. I don't want anyone to sympathize with me. I won't pretend to be some tragic heroine either. I'm going to become a murderer that nobody can sympathize with. So please, grant a suitable final moment to me. A bluish-white flash filled the huge cave. Keiichi fell down like a doll. Shion reached out to him from the other side of the bars. She screamed at me not to kill Keiichi. Go ahead, cry and blame me. Don't even think of offering your forgiveness. I'm the most rotten existence in this world, so please, grant me the worst possible ending. Shion begged me desperately to let Keiichi go. I simply abused her, slandered her, and disgraced her. The more Shion suffered, the deeper I'd fall into hell. It wasn't enough. It wasn't even close to deep enough. It wasn't deep enough to compensate for my sins. I dragged Keiichi to the table that I tried to put Satoko on and restrained him there. Keiichi began to move sluggishly. The stun gun must not have worked too well on him. Can you hear it, Shion? I'm going to get started now. Savor Ketchan's fresh screams to your heart's content. At that time, I became aware of Keiichi's gaze, and then I turned around to face Keiichi. Quick save! Alright. We get a choice! What do we want to do? Aware of his gaze or turn around to face him? I'm gonna save it here too. We get a rare choice in this game. We're gonna do both because I want to see what happens. Throw hands, assert dominance, let's go. Okay, we're gonna turn around and face him then. Give it a freaking rest. Keiichi squeezed out those words. He sounded good, like he was about to bite me. Awake at last, are we? I lied before, you know, about having wanted to give Shion the most miserable death of all, but locking her up because I hadn't thought of a good way yet. That was a lie. I smiled as I laid out the huge nails and hammer specially made for the nail table. I'll let her hear the screams of all those people that died because of her, and after they've soaked into her very soul, then I'll kill her. I've got pretty good taste, huh? Who are you? Huh? I'm Mion. Mion Sonozaki. Have you lost your mind from fear? Nani kore? There's stuff happening. No, you're not. There's no way you could be Mion Sonozaki. Oh, he knows! He's figured it out! Keiichi's actually braining. I stopped moving. Ketchan. Crap. I decided the naming game would be over once we reached Shion's cell. Therefore, even if he guessed this time, it would be too late. Oh well. Sure, I'll listen to you. This is your last chance. I see. Then, if I'm not Mion, who am I? Come on, Ketchan. Guess who I am. Why don't you try and save Mion, the girl who fell in love with you? A demon. Huh? You're not Mion. Mion was just here. Give her back. Ketchan, is your brain really doing okay? You're not going crazy with fear? Don't touch me! You darn demon! Give her back! Give Mion back! My best friend! Give Mion back! I listened to him with a blank expression. I know it's nonsense to demand Mion's return when she's right in front of me. But, this person in front of me can't possibly be Mion. I can't accept that. That's great. So I'm not Mion or Shion. He doesn't even see me as my sister. Amogus, for real, imposter. Shion is sus. No, wait. That's not it. Keiichi protected the Mion in his heart until the end. He didn't accept the fact that Mion was a murderer. And not just that either. He protected the Shion in his heart as well. He didn't conclude that if Mion wasn't a murderer, then it must have been Shion. To Keiichi, Shion was someone who always made fun of Mion. But that was it. It wasn't like they'd known each other for a long time. But Keiichi protected her. He protected Shion from being a murderer. That's why I'm a demon. And not Mion or Shion, huh? A demon, huh? A demon. That's stupid. But isn't that just right on the money? Yeah, Chad. Are you trying to drown me in my own tears? However, Keiichi didn't back off. He kept screaming. He screamed loudly so that I could hear his voice even when I was stuck inside of a demon. You could do it, Mion! Don't lose to this piece of crap demon! You're strong! Show me how strong you are! Surely he isn't talking to me knowing that I'm the real Mion, right? He's just confusing us again. So there's no reason to let my heart be disturbed by Keiichi's screams toward Mion. Come on, Mion! Mion! Why did you lose to a demon like this? You're not that weak, are you? Don't give up. Fight! Fight! He's right. I didn't fight back. How did he know? How did he know I didn't fight back? I lost to the demon. Keiichi kill! If only. After all, I'm weak. I'm not strong enough to defeat the demon. Even so, Keiichi continued to talk to Mion. His voice had become hoarse and he had begun sobbing. He kept mumbling, Mion, Mion. Ketchan, this may not be something pleasant to take to the grave with you, but you really seem to want to know, so I'll tell you just one thing. A long time ago, the demon came to live inside me. It was gnawing at my heart, trying to spur me to violence, but I suppressed it with my reason. The demon had become quiet, and I got to thinking that it had gone away somewhere. As it turned out, I was wrong. It hadn't left. It was just sleeping inside me. That was the truth. When I learned about Satoshi-kun's disappearance, my weak soul couldn't take the sadness and anger filled me to the brim. But the insanity had stopped there. Time had healed me, and embraced me with memories of Satoshi-kun. The demon woke up again due to a certain small opportunity. What do you think that opportunity was? It was such a little thing. This might be strange for me, a demon, to say, but you're the reason that everything got so messed up. A tear rolled down my cheek. At the time, if you had given me that doll you got, without hesitation, maybe everything wouldn't have gotten so twisted. She's playing the blame game. She said, Keiichi, this is your fault. Ooh. You probably can't understand. I wouldn't expect you to. But you see, all sorts of things started falling over like dominoes after that. And soon it was too much for me to control. It only makes sense that you wouldn't be aware of knocking over the first one, since it was so small. But you're the one who set them up. If Ketchan hadn't done something so insensitive, Shion wouldn't have cried. Shion cried and talked to me about it. That had reminded me of Satoshi-kun. I became jealous of her for having someone she loved so close to her. It was a very small jealousy, but that little feeling woke up the demon who was sleeping deep inside of me. After that, I just let the demon take over. The demon ate up all of the sadness from my loss of Satoshi-kun, and filled my heart with the notion of revenge, even though I knew that wouldn't make Satoshi-kun happy. Then, the scary incidents that followed dragged me to hell from whence there was no escape. That can't be, can it? It only makes sense that you wouldn't be aware of it. Even so, Ketchan, you are without a doubt the cause. If you had nonchalantly given me the doll that day, then I don't think this would have happened. Was I simply transferring the blame to Keiichi? Such a tiny thing woke up the demon inside of me. The demon would have woken up eventually. I was at fault. I didn't fight back. I let the demon live in my soul, and I let the demon possess me. Oh. Keiichi didn't hide his tears. They were pouring down his cheeks. Maybe he was crying in my place, since I'd become a demon and couldn't cry of my own will. Can I start now then? This method of torture is very simple. I'll nail one of these into the first joint of your left pinky finger. Then, I'll nail each one in order until I get to your thumb. And then, I'll go back to your pinky and nail one into the joint in the middle. This is how you imagine Keiichi. Dog. He looked kind of unintelligent, and honestly, I can see that. Beautiful. So on and so on until I hammer 15 nails into your left hand. Oh. It's kind of hard to see though, like, kind of buggy-eyed. That's what I see. Doggy with buggy eyes. What do you see when you see that, doggy? When that's over with, I'll do your right hand next. After that, if you're still conscious, I'll tell you. It's very tiny, was thinking more like Melvin the cat. Melvin the cat. I feel like I've heard that before. Oh, yeah. This one. That's lovely, oh my gosh. There are a lot of nerves bundled in your fingertips, so it hurts far more than you could imagine. The side-eye cat, yeah. Side-eyeing her from the table. She's like, I'm about to hammer some nails in your fingers. He just... Some people apparently pass out before you finish hammering 30 nails into their hands, so... I put a nail to Keiichi's left pinky. Once I hit it with a huge hammer, it would start, and it would be over. I didn't hesitate at all when I was torturing the others. But somehow, I do when it's you. If this'll satisfy your demon, Mion. If it'll sate the demon, then do to me what you will. I didn't understand what he just said, so I tried to repeat his words in my head. Are you serious? Compared to how much I hurt Mion, this is nothing, right? Do as much as you want. In exchange, promise me 2 things. After you're satisfied with causing me pain, forgive Shion. She's been punished enough to make up for her crime of sneaking into the storehouse, hasn't she? After all this, you still care about Shion more than yourself? I am Mion. Mion Sonozaki. So why are my eyes growing so damp when hearing Keiichi show concern for Shion? The other thing is that when you've had your fill, you disappear. Give that body back to Mion. That's all. Are you not even considering possibly begging for your life or anything? Can I ask you to promise 3 things instead of 2? The third is to leave me alive. You said 2 in the beginning, didn't you? So you can't have any more. That's a shame. Even in this situation, Keiichi and I joked around and laughed. Then, I knew. I knew why Shion fell in love with him. He's different from Satoshi-kun, but he's a good guy. I probably won't keep these promises, understand? I'm a demon after all. I guess there's nothing I can do then. Keiichi smiled and then closed his eyes. Kei-chan, I'll agree to just the third thing, okay? Huh? Your first wish. To save Shion. That's not possible. The demon will kill her. It's already been decided, so I can't stop it. So please give up on that. I stroked Keiichi's chin. As for your second wish, to give this body back to Mion, that won't happen either. After today, Mion will never come back. From today on, even if my body remains, it'll be just a shell. because the demon has taken it over. That isn't true. Mion is Mion. Don't say such sad things. It's like she won't ever come back. Can you hear it? That sound. I'd been hearing a noise. I knew what it had to be. Bang. Bang. A dull sound was repeating in regular rhythm. It was accompanied by a light tremor. People were trying to force open the iron door to the underground storehouse. You're late, so Rena probably called Ooishi. That spaced-out girl being so quick-thinking was the one thing I didn't anticipate. I'll agree with you there. Really? I wonder how much Kei-chan really knows about Rena. Rena Ryugu. I won this time. Rena couldn't figure out who I was until the end. Or maybe she did. Rena didn't seem confused about whether I was Mion or Shion. Perhaps Rena could tell Mion and Shion apart through her sense of smell. She was good at that kind of thing. No way. I'm overestimating her. I brought out my stun gun so Keiichi could see the sparks. You've probably never seen one before, right? It's a real stun gun. It's illegally modified, so its power has been increased quite a bit. Was that what you hit me with before? That's not a toy children should be playing with, you know. You're right. They must have broken the first door. The path was complicated, but there was no other door except for the one to this torture room. I won't kill you, but I will have you go to sleep for a bit, Kei-chan. Ooishi will be here soon. Hey, Shub. My OBS disconnected. Hopefully everything is up and running again, though. This'll only hurt a bit. Keiichi bit down and smiled bitterly. I paused, hesitating a little. Keiichi opened his eyes to see what was wrong. I'm sorry for disgracing Mion. I made a promise before coming in here. Whatever happens, the Mion inside my heart won't change. Look, forget about that. If you ever see me after today, don't come near me. By then, it'll be the demon that inherited my corpse. Psst. Keiichi fell unconscious. I locked the door to the torture room. I locked the door to the huge cave, too. That should give me some time. Shion, come on out. I opened the cell and told Shion to leave it. She was crying. You asked me to let Kei-chan go, so I did. He's out cold because of the stun gun. The police should be here soon, so they'll set him free. Thank you. Thank you. Oh. You still have something more to do. Shion has to escape from here. I took Shion to the cell with the hidden passage. Before that, I'll give Mion back to you. Eh? Take those clothes off. We're switching again. Here, the rubber band for your hair. Shion had no idea what was going on, but she changed her clothes as I ordered her to. I gave her the flashlight and she hung it around her neck. You go first. Find the hidden escape route at the bottom of the well. The light from the flashlight wasn't enough to entirely illuminate the way down. Nobody in their right mind would want to descend that well. But Shion obeyed and timidly climbed down the ladder. When she had passed entirely below the rim of the well, I brought out my stun gun and put it to Shion's head. Shion understood the meaning of that. Sis. I didn't kill Kei-chan just as you wanted. You told me I could kill you instead, didn't you? I'm going to keep our promise. Shion's hands and feet were clinging to a very unstable ladder, so there was no way she could protect herself. She was in a critical situation. You, who looks like Mion, needs to fall into the bottom of the well and die. I look like Shion. Kei-chan will testify that I'm the victim. I'll wait in the cell for the police to get here. I'm sure they'll eventually find out the truth from our fingerprints. But by the time they get that far, I'll be hiding somewhere else. Pretty good, huh? Are you killing me out of revenge for Satoshi? If you know that much, you should have been prepared. Go, apologize to Satoshi-kun at the bottom of the well. Sis, Satoshi isn't at the bottom of the well. Huh? Didn't you say the bodies get dumped down here? All I said was that if he was killed at the Sonozaki house, this is where his body would be. What are you telling me now? Can't you be a little clearer? I also liked Satoshi. Yeah, I'm sure. I liked him after all. I was very sad when Satoshi-kun disappeared, so I looked into things. And? I interrogated Granny. I even thought about throttling her. Then she told me. She said she was only telling me as the successor, so I had to keep it a secret. What she said was something hard to believe. The hag said to Shion, the Sonozaki family had nothing to do with the disappearance of Satoshi-kun. Shion couldn't understand, so she asked again. The Sonozaki family held a lot of influence in the underworld because of our dad's connections. In fact, they used such illegal measures during the dam conflict. Therefore, people just assumed the Sonozaki family had pulled the strings when the dam construction incident took place. Even the hag laughed meaningfully and said suspicious things, so everyone believed she was the mastermind. But it was all a performance. It was a hoax by the Sonozaki family head. It was just a bluff. The family took credit for the incidents to make it look like they were pulling the strings. With the influence they already had, this bluff was very believable. Therefore, people thought of the Sonozaki family as one that had deep connections in the underworld, and that they were capable of producing any sort of conspiracy. People have believed that since the dam conflict. Oreo just smiled at things she had nothing to do with, as if she was pulling the strings. When the relatives saw that, they became fearful of Oreo's power. When the dam construction site manager was killed, Oreo smiled meaningfully. When the relatives saw that, they assumed Oreo was behind it. When the Hojo couple fell off the cliff. When the Furude couple died violently. When Satoshi-kun's aunt died and Satoshi-kun disappeared, the hag just smiled meaningfully. Everyone believed the Sonozaki family was behind all those incidents. That's a lie! Are you trying to tell me the Sonozaki family has nothing to do with any of it? How can I believe that? I don't think Granny would lie. Especially about Satoshi-kun's disappearance, since she said she knew nothing about it. Because Granny approved of the relationship between Satoshi-kun and you, remember? You ripped your nails off so she would forgive everything. No, that's a lie! Don't try to fool me! Then who made Satoshi-kun disappear? Who? That, I don't know. But it wasn't the Sonozaki family. It wasn't Granny. You know the curse system, right? The hag didn't need to give the command for Satoshi-kun to be attacked. All she had to do was look concerned, and then someone else would take care of it. That was the system! Shion couldn't say anything in response. Even if the hag had forgiven him personally, as long as he was the object of the curse, the executioner would follow him forever. Granny told me that she had tried to find out who was actually behind this curse of Oyashiro-sama for a long time. But she couldn't. Everyone believed that it was someone in the village, but she couldn't find out who it was. She couldn't find out. Then why did the curse take place every year? Isn't it weird? But there wasn't anyone. There really wasn't. I told you that Rika Furude tried to attack me earlier with a syringe, didn't I? How do you explain that? She wasn't just acting out of desperation like a cornered rat. She came over to my house and attacked me with a bottle of pepper spray and a syringe. I bet Tomitake-san was killed with the same stuff. That... I don't know. I can't believe Rika-chan would do something like that. I'm the one who saw how she died, and I still can't believe it. What a completely abnormal way to go. I don't think Shion and the hag are lying. That would mean the hag wasn't in as much control as we thought she was, though. She didn't know anything about that scary drug, or if the Furude family was the one executing the curse. If the Sonozaki family had nothing to do with it, then who made the series of mysterious deaths possible? Was it just a coincidence that something happened 5 years in a row on the night of Watanagashi? That's impossible. A human must have made it happen. And it was all decided somewhere the Sonozaki family wasn't aware of. The Kimiyoshi family didn't know anything. Kimiyoshi believed the Sonozaki family was behind it. Was it the Furude family? With Rika's behavior and the elderly people who believed in her so blindly, did some kind of power exist around the Furude family that created the curse? No way. The Furude couple themselves were victims of it. How could a little girl like Rika possess a power stronger than that of the Sonozaki family? No way. It's just impossible. In other words, I had killed the heads of all the 3 families and was trying to bring an end to the whole thing, all as a result of a misunderstanding about the dark secret of Hinamizawa. Then what about my revenge? Did I kill all the wrong people? People who had nothing to do with Satoshi-kun's disappearance at all? That's a big oof. That's good, Shion. You're still trying to turn the tables on me, huh? Sis, please, believe me. I'm not your enemy. I really am not. Please, believe me, sis. Shion begged with tears in her eyes. That would have affected me if I was still Shion's sister. But I don't feel anything anymore. Because I'm a demon. I'll be done once I kill Shion. I've already decided that. If I don't finish it up, what would my existence be for? What about the life I devoted to revenge for Satoshi-kun? How dare she tell me all this nonsense to confuse me at the very end? If what she said was the truth, then what I'd done wasn't revenge. It was just the curse of the 5th year. Shion, if you were truly innocent, you can go to heaven. Apologize to Satoshi-kun for me. Sit. A bluish-white spark lit up the darkness, and Shion disappeared into the well. Please apologize to Satoshi-kun in heaven. I can't, since I won't be going there. Instead, I'm going deep into hell. Jumping into this well would be too simple an atonement for what I've done. Until I find a perfect way to end my life, I'm going to live as best I can. That's just Okay, well, we'll check out this tip. Notebook page 199. Shion Sonozaki's last confession is dubious. Did the hag convince her that the Sonozaki family had nothing to do with it? Or is that the truth? In my own investigations so far, I've proven there are aspects of the curse which can't be explained by the Sonozaki family alone. So, my notes were all bogus from the beginning. These 200 pages are full of BS. I thought of burning this notebook, but I won't do it. This notebook proves my guilt. I won't distort the facts. I won't burn it. After all, my life was only a notebook long. I wonder if anybody will read this. If somebody does, please, let them learn something from my stupidity. The series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa, dubbed Oyashiro-sama's curse. If you're reading this, please find the truth. That's my only wish. June 1983. Mion Sonozaki. Okay, but like we can still check the other ending, so we're going to save this here. And then load this. And we're gonna see if it's any different. We become aware of Keiichi's gaze. Is it exactly the same? Okay, Keiichi's growl resounded from the pits of his stomach. What a delightful sound. It was like he wanted to rip me apart. Awake at last, are we? I lied to you before, you know. About having wanted to give Shion the most miserable death of all, but locking her up because I hadn't thought of a good way yet. That was a lie. Did we read this dialogue already? I'm gonna keep going until I see something different. The nails, killer. Oh, I guess it is different. Okay, maybe I should read it anyway. Alright. Back to the log. Let's see. I smiled menacingly as I laid out the huge nails and hammer specially made for the nail table. I'll kill her, but only after her soul drowns in the screams of the many people who died because of her. Wouldn't that be poetic? Who are you? Huh? I'm Mion. Mion Sonozaki. Did the fear drive you out of your mind? No, you're not. There's no way you could be Mion Sonozaki. Okay, but this dialogue is the same. Oh. Let's see. Okay. The realization. This is his last chance. Who is she? Okay, wait. And then I heard it. I most definitely heard it. Keiichi's mouth trembled as he spoke the words, yet his eyes shone with a strong conviction. And he spoke the truth. You're Shion, aren't you? He knows! Wow. You're right. You actually won. You're amazing, Kei-chan. A strange feeling fills my chest as I shiver. I had convinced myself there was no way he could guess. But he did, and I couldn't help feeling a bit surprised. This Keiichi had yet again pierced through my disguise. You aren't Mion. Give me back the Mion whom I was with until just now. Who are you? Huh? You aren't Mion, right? Huh? Like I said, I'm Mion. No, that's not it. That wasn't what I meant. You aren't Mion. Why do you think I'm not the older sister? I don't know. Just a feeling. In my mind, memories of the time Keiichi recognized me at the toy store had been revived. Yes, even back then, Keiichi could tell that I wasn't my sister Shion. I had feigned composure and offered a comeback with a straight face, but on the inside I was shook. We were both capable of becoming Mion or Shion. But because I was the real Mion, and was only Shion legally on paper, reversing the roles was even more easier for me. Our tones of speech, quirks, and even our auras, we had both mastered each other's habits so perfectly. Even our own parents were unable to tell us apart. In fact, wasn't that exceptionally sharp Rena not able to figure out I wasn't her best friend Mion after all, despite being so close? So why? Has this Keiichi actually seen through my disguise twice? Why do you think I'm not the older sister? My ears perked up, eager to hear the answer. Keiichi's reply was a soft murmur, like an insect's whisper, as he gasped for breath in pain. His voice was so quiet it was nearly inaudible, but I could almost recognize the words on his lips. Yes, just a feeling, he says. Wow. Yet again, it was just a feeling. Didn't he say the exact same thing to me that time at the toy store? How nice, how nice. What a splendid answer. You'd think why my sister of all people fell in love with him. However, no. Rather, it was exactly because of this. Along with my raving madness, the blood that was simmering in my veins until just now rapidly began to turn chill and coagulate. If I were to describe it, it felt like stagnant muddy water flowing through a gutter. Even now, it was so hilarious I could fall over laughing, but I didn't smile. On the contrary, my face was vacant and austere, like a no-mask of frigid ice. And then, the darkness seeped into the innermost depths of my mind, and I was already parting with my self-restraint as a human being. I reach out and touch Keiichi's hair, matted with sweat and caked with blood. Keiichi whips his head away at once in disgust, as if he were staving off a housefly, and glares at me defiantly. "Don't touch me! You darn demon! Give her back! Give Mion back! Give me back my best friend Mion!" Having lost liberty over his whole body, he continued to howl and cry as if he were spewing blood. I was supposed to have sold my soul to the devil and become a demon, but faced with such a bitter rejection, I felt the crumbled remnants of my emotions stir within me. Munch, crunch, munch, crunch, munch, crunch. My throat begins to itch. The crooks of my elbows, my wrists, and every other joint in my body begins to tingle and prickle, and I feel irrationally restless. The more the restlessness and irritation piled up, the more the squalling, whimpering person beside me felt bothersome, revolting, so awful I could slaughter him right away. To be frank, until just now, I had no intention of killing Keiichi. I was truly ready to spare at least his life, if he guessed the right answer. This was the rule I had decided upon. Okay, I'll admit it. Just like Shion, I had also fallen in love with Keiichi. He was incredibly silly and good-natured, unbelievably warm-hearted and gentle. Talking to him made me feel contented. Besides, I even sympathized with him. Unlike the lot I'd dealt with so far, Keiichi was indeed just a victim, caught up in my selfish revenge drama. Now that my revenge against the Sonozaki family was almost complete, I didn't mind saving him. That may sound too convenient, but perhaps the human side of me that was fond of Keiichi wanted to save him, in order to seek his forgiveness for my actions. But I've changed my mind. Having witnessed Keiichi guess the right answer before my very eyes, my heart was suffused with a stinging, gaping, overpowering darkness, as if it were freezing over. Why? Why was Shion alone able to meet such a wonderful person? Satoshi-kun could only make a vague distinction between me and Shion. Satoshi-kun abandoned me and ran away. However, this Keiichi trusts Shion. He's defending Shion, whom he values as his best friend, by seeing through my lies. And as a result, he gave up on me. Detestable, maddening, despicable, enviable. So much so that I want to kill them. That's right. The moment he defended Shion, he became one of them. He's equally guilty. You low-life scum! I despise you! 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 You piece of crap! Please stop! Don't kill him! Ketchon, get out of here! Munch, crunch, bunch, crunch, bunch, crunch. Ah, what a nuisance. Shion's screams coming from the corner of the chamber were enjoyable before, but now they felt unbearably noisy and pissed me off. How about I just get rid of Shion first? I wanted to kill her after she had the most exquisite taste of anguish and terror, but now I could barely suppress the indiscriminate urge to slaughter welling up within me. Keiichi was relentlessly yelling his protest towards me. His throat closed up eventually, and he gasped for breath, hoarsely continuing to demand Mion's return. Ketchon, this may not be something pleasant to take to the grave with you, but you really seem to want to know, so I'll tell you just one thing. The demon had already been dwelling inside me for a long time. It had been gnawing at my heart, trying to spur me to violence, but I suppressed it with reasoning. The demon calmed down, and I convinced myself that it had disappeared. As it turns out, I was wrong. The demon never left me. It had just been asleep inside me. Yes. When I learned about Satoshi-kun's disappearance, my ailing heart had crammed itself with rage to compensate for the despair. But that was the limit of my insanity. I would never have snapped. Time had healed me, and my memories of Satoshi-kun were neatly wrapped up and pushed into the back of my mind. That demon had awoken again thanks to a certain small opportunity. What do you think that opportunity was? It really was the smallest of smallest things. This might be a strange thing to hear from a demon, but you're the reason everything got so messed up. A tear rolled down my cheek. That's right. Back then, if you hadn't given that doll to Mion, none of this would have happened. If you hadn't? I think it's supposed to say had. You probably can't understand. I don't expect you to. But you see, after that, everything began to topple over one by one, like clattering dominoes, and it all got out of hand. It's normal you didn't realize because it was so small. But as the person to knock over the very first one, you were the cause of this tragedy. Back then, if Keiichi hadn't shown any affection, Shion wouldn't have been overjoyed. She wouldn't have been overjoyed and cheerfully boasted about him to me. As I was listening to her, I was reminded of Satoshi-kun. I became jealous of her for having someone she loved so close to her. It was a very small jealousy, but it had awoken the demon who was sleeping deep inside of me. After that, I just let the demon take over. The demon fed upon the copious amounts of sadness I held for Satoshi-kun, and in return it committed heinous acts that Satoshi-kun himself would never be happy with, all in the name of avenging him. And now, the horrific events that had followed were inviting me to the realm of demons that had no return. That can't be, can it? I'm not surprised you weren't aware. Even so, you were without a doubt the cause of this, Kei-chan. Back then, if you hadn't chosen to give the doll to Mion, we could have arrived at a different future. Oh, is this an alternate future where he did give the doll to Mion? Interesting. No, that wasn't right. Wouldn't pinpointing Keiichi's small action as the beginning be the height of transferring blame? I was implying such a silly thing had awoken the demon inside of me. Even without Keiichi's act, it would have awoken anyway. At the end of the day, it was all my fault. I didn't fight the demon. I allowed it to reside in my soul, and I readily offered it my heart. Ugh! Ugh! Keiichi didn't hide his tears. They were pouring down his cheeks. Maybe he was crying in my place, as I was not free to do so, having chosen to become a tearless demon. That is why I must go on, as the demon. There was no room for human emotions or hesitation anymore. And then, munch, crunch, munch, crunch, munch, crunch, snap. No! Shion's wails rasping like silk tearing apart, along with my screams of ecstasy. The last thing I heard were those everlasting reverberations. June 1983. A case of serial disappearances occurred in Hinamizawa Village, Shishibone City. The suspect is Shion Sonozaki. Allegedly, she abducted, imprisoned, and killed 4 Hinamizawan residents, Oryo Sonozaki, Kiichiro Kimiyoshi, Rika Furude, and Satoko Hojo, between June 19th and the 21st. Preliminary investigation into the incident was delayed at the time due to insufficient evidence, but by chance, the case was solved rather abruptly. On the morning of the 22nd, a patrol vehicle stationed outside the Sonozaki mansion heard screams from within, and personnel infiltrated the premises as an emergency measure. The suspect's missing elder sister, Mion Sonozaki, and 2 of her classmates, Keiichi Maebara and Reina Ryugu, were taken into custody. However, Keiichi Maebara, who had previously been lured into the crime scene, had sustained stab wounds perpetrated by the suspect. He was immediately transferred to an emergency unit, but they were diagnosed as a minor injury. Having been the one with the utmost opportunity to engage in conversation with the suspect until the very end, he will be subject to interrogation once he has recovered from the shock. Furthermore, the apprehended suspect was found collapsed at a place approximately 2 meters away from where Keiichi Maebara was restrained, and sustained scratch wounds on her throat. She was also transferred to an emergency facility, but was pronounced dead at 1:48 on the 22nd. Scratch wounds on the throat. We know what that's from. The official autopsy determines that the immediate cause of death was hemorrhagic shock due to excessive blood loss. Hair, pieces of skin, and blood of the 4 missing people, Oryo Sonosaki, Kiichiro Kimiyoshi, Rika Furude, and Satoko Hojo, were recovered from the hidden chamber that was discovered in the outbuilding basement of the Sonosaki family property, where they were supposedly killed. It was concluded that the victims were assaulted in that hidden chamber. The victims' bodies were discovered at the bottom of an old well, as per the testimony of the victim, Mion Sonosaki. In addition, investigations continue into any possible connection to the series of mysterious deaths in recent years, but no evidence of Shion Sonosaki's direct or indirect involvement has been found. There are still many obscurities to the motive behind the incident, and due to extreme non-cooperation from the Sonosaki family and residents of Hinamizawa, a large amount of time will be required to clarify matters on this front. The local police, who are familiar with the region, offered that this may have been an internal lynching incident as punishment for sacrilegious acts carried out against Hinamizawa's religious beliefs. It has been established that the incident is unique and rooted in the regional community beliefs, and a cautious investigation has been ordered by the prefectural police. We expected to gain valuable hints from the missing person and the suspect's sister, Mion Sonosaki, who was under confinement for the longest time period. But it was observed that she had sustained severe mental trauma from the incident, and her inquiry has been postponed in favor of her psychological and physical recovery. According to her primary care physician, although her condition is fairly serious, there is a strong prospect of recovery, and she is at present undergoing rehabilitation with support from her close friends. Several weeks have passed since then. After that incident, I was rescued by Oishi-san and his team, whom Rena had summoned. I had no other after effects aside from my consciousness that had been wiped white. If I were to have any at all, it would have to be the deep scars that had been left inside my heart. As I was being examined at the hospital, I was subjected to various queries from Oishi-san. I tried to answer him with whatever little I knew, but I had no idea if it met his expectations, and neither did I bear any responsibility to do so. From what I heard, Shion had already lost too much blood by the time the police had arrived, and she had stopped breathing. They urgently called for an ambulance and took her to the clinic, but there was barely any time for first aid, and she took her last breath. The silver lining was that Mion, who had been captive in her cell, was safe and taken into custody by the police. Up until the moment I lost consciousness, I was afraid that Shion may fly into a rage and murder Mion, but I was just glad we had managed to avoid the worst-case scenario. Only, when Mion was rescued, she was emaciated and had sustained severe psychological trauma. Apparently, at the time of her rescue, she had been completely unable to respond to the police's questions. Right now, Mion is admitted at the large hospital in the vicinity and undergoing treatment for her psychological and physical injuries. In the beginning, when Rena and I went to visit, her eyes were downcast in desolation, and she looked completely worn out. It was a horrible state to be in. But despite it all, as of late, she's on her way to recovery, finally well enough to show us a few smiles. Of course, we've been careful to not bring up Satoko or Rika-chan, and especially Shion. The police later conducted an on-site investigation at the Sonosaki house's underground storehouse, several days after the incident took place. Particularly, the well inside which Satoko and Rika-chan's bodies were disposed of by Shion was carefully surveyed by the prefectural forensic investigators, and true to Shion's testimony, the girls were discovered. Apparently, sediment had accumulated at the bottom of the well, and hence the discovery had taken several days. Along with Satoko and the other victims, skeletal remains that were several years, even several decades old, were found, but it's not like I would know much about that. Even I was once summoned back to that place to assist with the crime scene investigation, but I didn't really help them find anything important. The Sonozaki family in Okinomiya, in other words. Mion and Shion's parents came home every day several times along with many of their followers to formally apologize. And no matter how much my parents refused, they kept piling up banknotes worth millions of yen as compensation. And once that money had piled up and reached a certain amount, on the same day, there came an envelope with a letter instead. I have no idea what was written in that letter. But my parents had discussed amongst themselves for 2 nights straight without consulting me, and decided we would move away from Hinamizawa.
I see. You're moving away, huh? When are you going?
The end of next month. In the end, I guess I wasn't able to stay in Hinamizawa for even 6 months.
It's going to be lonely around here. Even Mi-chan would be sad, you know.
I'm sorry. I don't know if I should talk to Mion about this or not. I feel lost. Once Rena had heard me say that, she strongly insisted I had to tell her no matter what.
I'm sure you may feel it's an awful thing to tell her, but I'm sure Mi-chan will be more hurt if you quietly disappear without letting her know. So, how about we go tell her together, okay?
Yeah, you're right. Oh, I see. So Kei-chan's going away from Hinamizawa, huh? Even though she had heard it from me, Mion whispered those words sadly, but she didn't seem that surprised. Surely she had mentally prepared herself for this outcome somewhere inside her heart. Sorry. But you know what? I plan on returning to Hinamizawa someday. I promise. It's alright. You don't have to force yourself. Even if you come back, there probably isn't anything good for you here.
Mi-chan.
Both Rana and I wanted to say it wasn't so. But after such a tragic incident, what verbal consolation could we offer that would help? To Mion, who had suffered a much greater pain than we ever had. And so we just stood there, unable to say anything, just wallowing in silence. Maybe I should just go to Tokyo as well. Huh? I heard I'll be discharged from the hospital next week, and there isn't much for me around here either. Even if it isn't Tokyo, I just want to be somewhere far away, where nobody knows about me nor Hinamizawa. I'm not really thinking about something convenient like starting over. I'm just exhausted. I just want to throw everything away. Mion. Mion had been forced to carry the name of the next head of the Sonozaki family and the representative of the 3 great families, all due to a small misunderstanding. Despite feeling uncertain and weary about her unplanned responsibility, she had nevertheless been earnest and given her all to fulfill her duties. But to think, all of that had been concluded in such a manner. It was such a tremendous loss that it's almost a surprise she hasn't completely lost her mind. Who could really blame Mion anymore for making such a faint-hearted remark? And so I wanted to devote even a little bit of my remaining time here for her. That's right, Mion. You want to go out somewhere together? Huh? Where? You know, like a trip or something. I don't have a lot of time left here, so I thought we should at least recover some good memories. Tokyo's kind of far away, but how about another big city, where we could try some good food and do some shopping? Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that sounds wonderful. You should go, Mi-chan, okay?
But, wait, Rena, aren't you coming with us? After hearing that, even I grow puzzled. Hadn't I suggested all 3 of us hang out together?
Well, I don't really want to be the third wheel, so you 2 should go all by yourselves. I'll be looking forward to souvenirs.
Look at Rena playing matchmaker. What a Chad. Look at her go. Boom. Mion blushes vigorously. I was slow to react because I didn't understand what Rena was getting at. But seeing Mion's face imbued with color after a long time, my heartbeat grew faster for a moment. No, It wasn't what I implied when I suggested the idea, but depending on the point of view, wouldn't this be an invitation to a date? No, I'm probably getting way ahead of myself. Indeed, after seeing it that way, I was overcome with embarrassment. But there was no way I could back out after coming this far. This was all for Mion's sake. Pull yourself together, Keiichi Maebara. Well, how about it, Mion? Of course, it'll be after getting permission from the doctor and your parents. I'll make sure you don't tire yourself out, so think about it, okay? Okay, I gotcha. I'll, think about it, okay?
Oh, Mi-chan looks so cute today for a change. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. How.
After that, we spent the day talking about harmless stuff that happened at school or in the neighborhood until it was evening. I felt like Mion had regained some of her spirit and acted a bit like she used to, so I was happy. After a few days, Mion had contacted me to say she was okay with my plan. And after spending a few more days to convince my folks and Mion's parents, we set off on a day's trip to a metropolis that had one of those bullet train stations. Whoa! I haven't been here in a while, but it's grown so much. As soon as she stepped out of the station, Mion's set eyes on a scenery sprawling with people and cars. She shared her feelings in excitement as she looked on admiringly. From what I heard, unless it's on very important business, Mion rarely gets to leave the village, let alone come out to a big city like this. Because of that, everything she saw looked fresh and fascinating to her, and she pranced around merrily, almost like a child. Hey, Ke-chan! Where are we going after this? Let's see. Judging by your preferences, how about there? The place I was pointing to, one I had checked out in advance, was a massive, beautifully decorated game arcade that towered over a corner of the station's shopping square. Phew! We sure had one heck of a time, huh? I had so much fun! It's been a long time since I played so many games at once. As I sat down on the bench, Mion was gleefully draining her can of juice with a huge smile. That expression was unlike the gloomy one Mion had worn at the hospital. Next to me was the Mion I knew well. Earlier, we'd had a blast, vowing to conquer all the game consoles in the vicinity, and made quite the ruckus, without caring about the people watching. Mion was enjoying herself playing on consoles she wasn't used to, and had gone on a rampage, laughing out loud, getting worked up, and challenging me to matches. Although I couldn't help thinking about what-ifs as I was playing with her, about how much fun it would be if only it weren't just the two of us, but also Rana, Satoko, and Rika-chan as well. I'm sure Mion must have been thinking the same thing. Which was also why I outdid myself, making so much noise, trying to battle the loneliness, when I had realized. Hey, Mion. What's up, Ke-chan? With faint drops of sweat coating her forehead, Mion turned to face me with a broad smile. Mion's cheerfulness was most likely just her being considerate towards me for having brought her here. If that was so, then I needed to do the same for her. You told me it was your first time seeing those, but were you serious? You got 2 high scores on your first time playing. You're unbelievable. That was actually 4, Ke-chan. These games are all about sense, intuition, and having great eyesight. It's all thanks to never neglecting my everyday discipline. More importantly, Ke-chan, shouldn't you be feeling ashamed of having your advantage used against you? Hey, whoa, hold it right there. Remember how you distracted me by randomly pointing somewhere during air hockey and saying, "Look, what's that?" That's against the rules. You're brutal. Winner takes all, losers gotta fall, right? For the time being, it's alright if her well-being is a front. All I hope for is that someday, this becomes real and she recovers her old cheerful self. Speaking of which, the game's arcades changed quite a bit, huh? A little while ago, I would have expected a dim place stinking of cigarettes, but I'm surprised I got to see so many people there with their families. You're right. I guess hanging out like this once in a while is pretty fun too. Oh yeah, what time is it now? It's around 5 p.m. now, I guess. Oh, then it's not long before we have dinner, right? Where do you want to go before we leave? How about fast food, like hamburgers or something? Oh, sounds nice. Before we go, just excuse me for a bit. Mion said that and stood up from the bench. I found it odd for a minute, but then I understood her intention, and they'll have toilets at the restaurant too, you know. Instead of a reply, I had empty cans thrown at me. Mion stuck her tongue out at me and left in a hurry. And after I watched her retreating figure, I plopped back down on the bench and looked up at the sky. The sky was pure blue and crystal clear, and it felt amazing. Everything seemed to be glowing, bathed in the brilliant summer sun. It was a good thing we came here. Mion also seemed to show signs of recovery. Oh yeah, then I might as well try asking her if she wants to come see me at Tokyo next time. It would be cheaper if she stayed at our new place there, but I feel like our parents may be concerned for a while. We still needed some more time to go back to how it was. Then I'll have to look for a place she can stay at. After that... Why, hello there. Eh? Oh, hello. What? Who? I don't see anyone except Keiichi. Oh, hey. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Ket-chan. The line for the toilet was really long. Look, I brought some drinks because I made you wait so long. Which one would you like? My, Ket-chan. Don't tell me you fell asleep. Wow, this is pathetic. It's not very gentlemanly to doze off on a date with a girl, you know. Ket-chan? Seriously, how long are you going to be out? Come on, wake up! Ooh! Ket-chan? Eh? Huh. No! Oh, bad. Yo! Yo, who was that? Okay, well, I have to go eat dinner, so I guess we'll stop here, but that was unexpected. Oh my gosh. We're gonna go ahead and send a raid to Captain Fluff, so if you want to go and join that, awesome. And if not, then thank you guys so much for coming. Hopefully, I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye! Thank you.